How's it going, everybody? My name is Chase Teep and welcome to my channel. Today I've got a video about the 7 habits of highly frugal people. And yes, that title is based entirely off of the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And I wanted to make exactly something just like that book, but instead of about effective people, about frugal people, the type of people who extract as much value as they can out of every single dollar that they spend and really just try to live kind of cheaply and save as much money as they possibly can. I can really relate to a video like this because I call myself a frugal person. I absolutely enjoy saving money and finding new ways to save money, and thought it'd be really cool to just kind of show that here in a video exactly like that book and just show 7 habits that all frugal people, or at least most frugal people, follow themselves. So if you're someone who already lives frugally or is trying to live more frugally, this video is going to be perfect for you. But all right, let's jump in. I'm going to go over every single one of these 7 habits. So let's get started with number 1. The first habit of highly frugal people is that they budget everything. Every single dollar that they make goes into specific budgets, and they track every single dollar that they spend extremely well. Everything that they spend money on comes from a budget that they've already predetermined. They don't spend anything that's outside of their budget or that's not in their budget. Everything that they spend is carefully planned and just well thought out ahead of time, and they know exactly what they're going to be spending every single dollar that they make on. And I've talked a little bit about budgeting here on my channel before, but I really just wanted to bring this up again because this is just one of the main things about frugal people, okay? If you are able to budget everything and just create budgets for all the things that you spend money on, you're going to start seeing yourself just save a little bit of money here and there by not buying things that aren't in your plans. You're just going to stop wasting as much money as you might have been before, and that's exactly what highly frugal people will do. They will always budget everything, and because of how important this is, I made sure it was the number 1 habit of a highly frugal person. The second habit of highly frugal people is that they do not put themselves in a position to be tempted by things that they don't need. The easiest way to think about this one is a frugal person is not going to go to a shopping mall unless they are trying to buy something very specific from that shopping mall. They're not going to put themselves in a position to look at other products and items that they might think they want because they know that that's just not in their budget and they don't need those items. And because of that, they're going to avoid going to the mall or wherever it is to spend money because they do not want to even put themselves in that position in the first place. And the truth behind this one, I mean, let's be honest, if you're going to go around to a shopping mall, you're probably going to see something that you might want, and therefore you might actually convince yourself to spend money on that item even though you don't need it. And that is exactly what a highly frugal person will not do. And I know this gets moneyed up a lot more by the introduction of kind of e-commerce and being able to buy things online with the click of a finger, but realistically it's just trying to avoid anything where you could see something that you want, especially if you do have a habit of spending money on things that you don't necessarily need, but with their stated goal to just not spend as much money as they possibly can. The highly frugal person is just going to not put themselves in that position at all ever, and they will avoid that temptation entirely. The third habit of a highly frugal person is that they do not spend money when they are pressured into making a decision. And this can be any number of things, whether it's pressured by time, like there's a certain sale that ends in like 2 hours and you need to buy that item before the sale expires, but also something like quantity. If there's only 1 item remaining in stock, you might think to yourself, I need to buy this item before there are none left. Situations like that really do put yourself under stress, under pressure to make a decision quickly when in reality, you don't need to. It's absolutely not necessary to make that decision right then and there. It's almost always smarter to just take a step back, get out of that pressure zone, and just think about whether or not that purchase is actually necessary. If we're all being honest with each other, it's situations like that when you're feeling under pressure to make a decision that most people actually don't always make the best decisions. And so realistically, what any frugal person is going to do if they feel themselves in a type of situation where they're stressed to make a decision quickly, they will just step back, not purchase that item, not make that decision right then and there. They will think about it further and then come back at a later date. Yes, maybe that sale is now over. Maybe that item is now sold out, but at least now they know whether or not they actually needed / wanted / valued that item in the first place. And if they ever see it again, they'll know right then and there. They just need to buy it right away, not put themselves under any more stress, no more pressure for them to buy anything in a certain time frame. They just know exactly what they're going to do right when that item comes back. The fourth habit of a highly frugal person is that they appreciate all of the things that they actually have in their life. And this one is really what separates a person who is frugal from people who are kind of materialistic and have a lot of items. The person who is frugal is going to really appreciate the value that every little thing brings to their life, whether it's a Himalayan salt lamp, bringing something cool to the background of their YouTube videos, or a shirt that was $4 and they were able to buy super cheaply on a really good deal. Things like that. They understand and appreciate the value that they bring, and they're very satisfied, almost would be the word, and they don't normally feel like they need something else in their life. They don't normally feel like they're completely missing out on something. Another way this comes into play is with something like an iPhone. If they really do appreciate the iPhone that they currently have, they're not going to feel like they really need that next version of the iPhone. Even if an iPhone 12 comes out and looks just absolutely amazing, they're going to think, I'm fine with my iPhone 8 or 6 or 5 or 10, whatever it may be. They appreciate what that brings, and unless they really need a new phone because their old one is just messing up or malfunctioning entirely, they just appreciate what it is, and they're not pressured or think that they need the next version of that phone to make them happier. And that is exactly what keeps them from spending money on things that they don't need. Just being satisfied with the things that they own and understanding that value that each item brings. That really does help them stay happy even though they're barely spending any money. And that brings me to the fifth habit of a highly frugal person. This one is that they don't see money as something that needs to be spent in order to make them happy. Instead, the highly frugal person will find happiness by making well thought out long-term decisions with that money that will pay off at some point in the future, whether it's a day, a month, a year, or 50 years from then. They know that at some point that decision is going to help them out in the future. And making those little decisions is exactly what keeps them going. It's what keeps them frugal. I mean, honestly, just making those decisions, knowing that at some point in the future, that small choice that you had to make one day is going to pay off. That's massive, and it does make them happy. The way that I see this one when it comes to frugality is really this. I could spend some of my money right now on things that I want, and it would make me pretty happy right now in the short term to actually have those items that I've been desiring. But in the long term, unless those items just provide so much value to me that they're making me happy all the time, that happiness is going to kind of dwindle from that item. Instead, what I enjoy doing is taking the exact same amount of money that I was going to pay on that product and actually putting it into some type of fund or investment that's going to pay off in the future. Maybe I'm investing in myself by buying like a book or something just for me personally. Or maybe it's just putting that money away that is going to increase in value over time. When I make that decision, I get a little bit of happiness just knowing that I'm making a smart financial decision, and that makes me happy to just do that alone. But then I also know that one day in the future, when that money is worth a little bit something more, or that investment pays off, that's going to be equally happy, maybe even more happy. So not only am I making myself happy right now in the short term by just making that decision, but I'm also making myself happy in the future, and that is exactly why I enjoy doing it so much. I've said it so many times on this channel before already, but I genuinely just enjoy living frugally and finding ways to just save money, even if it's just a couple dollars at a time. It's just something that brings me so much happiness in my life, and I enjoy doing it, and this is exactly why. It's making those decisions that I know are going to pay off someday in the future. That's exactly what keeps me going, and realistically keeps me from just spending money on things that right now I might want, because I know that that's never going to bring me as much value as saving that exact amount of money will. All right, the sixth and second to last habit of a highly frugal person is that they understand that living frugally and the frugal lifestyle in general is a process. It takes time, it takes practice, and they're never satisfied with where they're at. When it comes down to it, there are always ways that you can probably save a little bit more money every single day of your life, and that's exactly what living frugally is all about. Just trying to find ways to cut down on the amount of money that you spend and to increase the amount of value that you can actually get with those dollars. And that's exactly why it's a process. It just takes time and practice, and you can always improve and always find new or creative ways to actually get that goal accomplished of spending less. And when it comes to the most frugal people, they try to do this every single day. They understand that this process is going to continue forever, so they're going to keep working at it, keep improving day by day by day. It's not something that is just going to come to them one day, save them a bunch of money, and they're good to go. No, they just work at it. They practice all the time. And that, along with the other 6 tips on this list, are exactly what separates the highly frugal people from the people who just enjoy saving money sometimes. The 7th and final habit of a highly frugal person is that they value their own time above everything else. Unless you're in an extremely fortunate position to make money without needing to do a lot of work, frugal people understand that all of their money that they make is coming from some type of effort or work that you're putting in yourself. It takes time in order to actually make that money, and then if you're going to spend it on something that is worth your time, not just the money itself. Don't think about it as being worth that money, because frugal people think of everything that they buy as being worth their time. They're willing to work in order to have that item. And this is exactly what it comes down to. A lot of highly frugal people understand that they could spend their money on any number of things that can bring them happiness, but they only choose to spend money on the things that bring them happiness, bring them value, but are also worth the amount of time that they put in to earn that money in the first place. And that's just really what it's all about. If you are able to consciously and actively only spend money on the things that are worth your time, you'll never have an issue with this. You'll never spend money and think, man, that was wasted money in the first place, because you're just buying things that you know are worth it. And that's just what it all comes back to. Just being frugal is all about finding the right amount of value for the right price. And if you're able to do both of those things, you can call yourself a highly frugal person. You probably follow at least a few of these 7 habits of highly frugal people, and you're probably just enjoying living that lifestyle already. So hopefully this video was able to help you out if you are living that life already. But there we go. That just about wraps up this video. Again, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. It was fun kind of basing this little frugal living exercise off of just an amazing book by Stephen Covey. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Comment down below if you did, and if you can think of any other habits that should be in these 7 habits of highly frugal people. Remember to subscribe so you do not miss a single upload. Again, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I upload new videos, so you don't want to miss any of those. Turn that like button blue before you go. That really helps push this video to more and more people and just helps me out so freaking much. So please do that before you go. But with that, I hope everyone has an amazingly frugal day, and I will see you all again next time.